Yo, dude, did you see what they brought to 5e back from previous editions of Dungeons & Dragons into Strixhaven, a curriculum of chaos?
I think I know where you're going with this, Ted, and what you're talking about. Let us talk about new D&D feats from Strixhaven.
I'm Nerdarchy Ted.
I'm Nerdarchy Dave. Welcome to Nerdarchy. For nerds, by nerds.
Well, once again, I guess it's time to get funky with feats.
All right, so as you may have guessed, we're talking about new D&D feats from the Strixhaven book. There are a ton of them in that book, but by ton, I mean two feats. But honestly, like, the thing that I am like kind of blown away with, and it took them so long to do, they've brought back the feat tree from earlier editions.
Yeah, I mean, there was some kind of talk early on, and I really thought like they were trying to avoid going down this road. You know, there was so many things, you know, from third edition where it's like, oh, well, you got to get this, and then this, and then this, and then this. You know, but here, you know, like this is the first time where there's a pre-rack. Like, oh, okay. You know, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so like I'm not opposed to the feat tree in 5e. The trick is to make it so that comparably all the feats are equally good, which they're not anyway, right? To be honest with you. Yeah. But you don't want to be that, like, you don't want to reward someone from going down the tree by being so much better than other feats. Instead, what I think you want to do is you want to be able to let that character specialize or do particular things, and they just have to wait to get them all.
Sure.
And like that is the tricky thing. You don't get a lot of feats in 5e, so, you know, if you wanted to do a tree, you know, you kind of have to weigh your options. Do I want to increase my stats? Do I want to take feats? Or if you set down that path, then it's like, it's going to take you, you know, a while to get it. Even if there's only two, right?
Right.
And you're human, you can do it by 4th level. But most other classes, you're not going to be able to do it until later. Now, in Strixhaven, everyone can do it by 4th level if you happen to take one of the backgrounds, because that's part of this too. Like, one of those feats is a freebie if you take a certain background.
Right. And that's another diversion from the typical thing of what's been done previously. There's a mechanical benefit several different ways, and you can watch the video, the background video, which should already be up on the channel.
As you can see, Ted's got his dead tree version. I'm going to put it up on D&D Beyond. And we just real quick want to thank Wizards of the Coast for sending us several copies of Strixhaven Curriculum of Chaos. If you're familiar with the channel, you know what that means. It means we're going to put them in the giveaway pile and give them to you, our fans. In order to do that, just join the newsletter, become a patron, go over on the website and look at the contest section. There's several different ways in order to enter our contest. We usually give away $50 or more a month in, it's generally D&D stuff. Sometimes it's other RPG stuff, but no matter what, it's going to be nerdy. But you can't wait till then. No worries. We got you covered. Down in the description, you can go over to the link for Amazon. It's an affiliate link. We earn a small commission when you use it. Maybe you don't have a local flags you want to use and support them. You can use that instead and help support us and the channel.
But if you're looking for another way to help support Nerdarchy, to keep making videos like this, as well as all the great content over on nerdarchy.com, you could always head over to Patreon and support us there.
As a special thank you, we'll receive 5e content for both DMs and players alike. We throw up maps from our games over there sometimes. We make magic items that sometimes get turned into print and play magic item cards, drop in encounters. We make feats, spells, races, subclasses, and so much more. Not only that, there's a chance to game with us. We run a monthly fan game, and your name just might be selected from one of the Patreons. There will be a link down in the description, also one of these cards for a free Patreon download sampler. You can try it out and see what it's all about.
All right, so we're going to get into the feats, and, you know, Strixhaven Initiate is very similar to Magic Initiate with a little bit more, you know, structure built into it. You have studied some magical theory and have learned a few spells associated with Strixhaven University. Choose one of Strixhaven colleges, Lorehold, Prismari, Quandrix, Silverquill, or Witherbloom. You learn 2 cantrips and 1 first-level spell based on the college you choose, as specified in the Strixhaven spells table. You can cast the chosen first-level spell without a spell slot, and you must finish a long rest before you can cast it in this way again. You can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have. Your spellcasting ability for this feat spell is Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. Choose when you select this feat. Now, so there's a whole list. With Lorehold, you can choose 2 from Light, Sacred Flame, and Thaumaturgy, and your first level spell is chosen from Cleric or Wizard.
Prismari, choose 2 from Firebolt, Prestidigitation, and Ray of Frost. Choose 1 first level Bard or Sorcerer spells.
From Quandrix, you're going to choose 2 from Druidcraft, Guidance, and Mage Hand, and your first level spell has to come from Druid or Wizard.
Silver Quill, your choices are Sacred Flame, Thaumaturgy, and Vicious Mockery, and you can either choose a Bard or Cleric spell.
And then Witherbloom, you're going to choose 2 from Chill Touch, Druidcraft, and Spare the Dying, and your first level spell is either a Druid or a Wizard spell.
So it's essentially Magic Initiate with some mixing and matching, right? Magic Initiate, you would technically be pigeonholed into one class.
Yes.
But you can pick any of the cantrips. You don't have to make a selection. It just has to be from that class list, and then your first level spell would be from that class list. Where here you could get your cantrips from one class and your spell from another, and vice versa, or one from each.
And the really great thing is regardless of what your choice is, you can choose those spells to focus off of Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma. So if I wanted, to play a cleric and I went down, Silver Quill, I could choose Vicious Mockery, and as opposed to having that be a Charisma-based spell for me, I could use my Wisdom with it. So you can really play around with those kinds of things, where typically, if you were to go Magic Initiate and you take something, it's a Bard spell for you, which means it's going to be Charisma-based. Or if it's a Wizard spell, it's going to be Intelligence-based. Whereas here, you have that flexibility, which has its own level of power play in it if you're looking for that.
Well, kind of to add to that, like Silver Quill is a great example because your choices are Cleric or Bard, which would be Charisma or Wisdom. But you could be a wizard and choose Intelligence.
Yes.
Right? You're not really pigeonholed in there. And although it doesn't get mentioned in any of these, like Artificer might work for a bunch of these as well, which would be another like thing to add in. I guess because it's not in the core classes, they don't want to do that.
Sure.
So all in all, I mean, and you're getting it for free, essentially.
If you take that background, you're going to get this, which also means, as opposed to having all of those spells added to your list, you're also getting a free casting of whatever your first level spell is. So it makes those backgrounds that much more powerful.
Or if you happen to be a non-caster class, you're getting to cast spells that you wouldn't normally be able to cast at all.
So you're saying forget that, fighting style for Rangers and Paladins. You can take this background, get those cantrips, and not have to worry about it, or double down and have access to 4 cantrips.
Yeah, you can be very caster or very castery barbarian. Whatever works for you. Monk doesn't matter. So you definitely have options. Stop! We have our second Kickstarter ready to go. Check the link in the description.
Add 250 magic item tarot card to your gaming resources right now.
Mageforge are magic items from our very own games and minds ready to use in your game.
So check it out, back it, follow it, whatever it is that you need to do.
And get on that list. Stay nerdy. But that's our first feat. We do get a second one. Strixhaven Mascot. Prereq, 4th level. And you have to have the Strixhaven Initiate feat. Boom, right there. That is a classic traditional feat tree from previous editions.
Yep.
You have learned how to summon a Strixhaven Mascot to assist you, granting you these benefits. You cast the Find Familiar spell as a ritual. Your familiar can take the form of a mascot associated with the college you choose for the Strixhaven Initiate feat. Then it lists them: Spirit Statue Mascot for Lorehold, Art Elemental Mascot, Prismari, Fractal Mascot, Quandrix, Inkling Mascot, Silver Quill, Pest Mascot, Witherbloom. It tells you that the stat blocks appear in this book. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can forego 1 attack to allow your mascot familiar to make 1 attack of its own with its reaction.
If your mascot familiar is within 60 feet of you, you can teleport as an action, swapping places with the familiar. If your destination space is too small for you to occupy, the teleport fails and is wasted. Once you teleport in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of 2nd level or higher to do it again.
So it's a very modified Misty Step. It's not a bonus action, but you get twice the range. And also the mascots that you get, they are way better than familiars you can normally get. They all have 20 plus hit points. I think maybe the low one is 18. Many of them have special abilities that they can use. And I think only one of them can fly, which, that one I was kind of looking at, because if you have the ability to teleport where they go, it having the ability to fly, it might be the Inkling that gives you the ability to, move 3-dimensionally with that teleport as well.
Yeah, that could be really cool.
So there's that. They all have a movement of 30. So if they double moved, you could get to that 60. But still, it's definitely an option. And the fact that you can also continue to do that if you spend spell slots is something that I like. I think the exploration pillar is where that's going to really shine and come in handy when you're trying to overcome and solve problems.
Sure.
You can use your familiar to do that. Also, one of the familiars has the squeeze ability, so it can get to places maybe you can't, like the other side of a door, and then you can just teleport to the other side. You don't have to see it to do it.
Right. Yeah, it's a familiar. So, I mean, you could technically look through its eyes.
You could technically look through its eyes.
So, you'd be able to make sure that it's a safe place for you to go, and then, change.
And also, these familiars look a lot cooler than most of the ones you can summon anyway.
Well, I mean, it's a feat to be able to get down this road, just like some of the more advanced feats, that you could get through, other means. You've got to expend power in order to do it. So they reward you for that choice. Looking at these feats, whole cloth, I don't think any of them are overpowered. I think there's, the Strixhaven Initiate definitely allows for a little bit more manipulation than the previous one, so definitely a little bit of power creep. I definitely like the ability. I know we've talked and somewhat trashed the 4 Elements Monk a number of times, but if you were to go with the Prismari, you could choose, Firebolt, Ray of Frost as your cantrips, both elemental type things. There's a number of elemental spells that are on the Sorcerer spell list. Monks are already wisdom based, so you could choose wisdom as your spellcasting thing. So, like, maybe you want to do Burning Hands as your first level. I believe that's a sorcerer spell, so you could get really into it and have that really up your elemental game as a way of 4 Elements Monk.
Yeah, it definitely expands the options. I like it. And also, like, I guess the thing that we didn't talk about either is we put a lot of emphasis on the backgrounds. I mean, you could belong to one of these colleges and not take the background and just do it via the feats.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know that it's really worth it to do that for the price of the feat, because I mean, what background is going to be like? What background are you going to be so in love with that you're like, I'll give up the extra feat?
Right.
There might be some ones that, like, thematically and flavor wise work really well, but at the same time, I feel like you're kind of gimping your character a little bit and compare it to the rest of the party. If they all use these backgrounds, then they all kind of start off a little bit better than you.
I would agree, and it's going to be up to each individual group how they handle it, whether there's any compensation for those who choose not to take these backgrounds, to get access to these kinds of feats. It's definitely a crux situation, but ultimately it's not our decision. Wizards of the Coast put this out as a supplement, and it's your table, your decision. So do with as you will.
Yeah, I mean, you could, like I said, we'd mentioned in a previous video, like, maybe if you want to mix this in with your game, that you let people who don't choose one of those backgrounds get an extra boon. I think, it'd be fair to give them a plus 2+1s or a +2 to their stats. Don't let them raise it above any stat above 16 to start out with, so they can do that, or maybe they could get a free feat.
A free feat, and basically a free ASI. So, like, if you could really double down, I'm a human and I'm not taking this. Like, you could have a lot of versatility and have a lot of fun with it. But ultimately, it's your game. You're gonna play it how you will. Add it if you like, and if you don't think these feats and these backgrounds are really interesting to your game, well, at your table, your choice.
Let us know what you think. Add to the conversation down below in the comments. Share your thoughts and ideas with the Nerdarchy community. Do you like these feats? Do you hate these feats? Would you maybe wanted to see something else?
While you're down there, don't forget to do all those things that make Nerdarchy and YouTube happy. Like, share, subscribe, even go ahead and attune to that notification bell.
Quick reminder, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we drop new videos here on the channel, so come back, check them out. Can't wait till then. No worries, we've got you covered. Up here, there's a card for another Strixhaven video. It's that one where we talked about the backgrounds.
So until next time, stay nerdy.